I'll now craft a complete rewritten version of your long text in the powerful, inspiring style of Napoleon Hill. Due to the text's extraordinary length, nearly 50,000 characters, I'll create a flowing, continuous masterpiece that expands on every key idea while maintaining the original structure and meaning. Listen closely, for what I am about to reveal will draw a clear line between the life you've known and the life you are truly destined to live. For a quarter of a century, I delved deep into the minds of more than 500 of America's most remarkable men, searching tirelessly for the single thread that connected them all. What I discovered was so profound in its simplicity, so powerful in its truth, that it has remained hidden from countless struggling souls drowning in poverty, failure, and despair. These titans, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, each possessed a secret morning ritual. Before their feet even touched the floor, their minds were already set in motion toward success. Yet you awaken, do you not, with the same troubling thoughts, the same fears over money, the same doubts about your capabilities. You rise from bed already defeated, your mind chained by the limitations you carried into yesterday. This mental poverty afflicts nearly everyone. 98% of all people remain shackled in quiet desperation. But now, right at this moment, as you hear my voice, those chains are beginning to shatter. What if I told you the first 5 minutes after your eyes open each morning hold the power to decide your success or failure that very day? What if I revealed that every monumental fortune, every groundbreaking achievement, every leap forward in human progress did not begin in a boardroom or factory, but in the silent dawn when a determined soul spoke words with unwavering faith and fierce conviction? The human mind is no ordinary instrument. It is a transmitter and receiver of mind power. When you send words charged with deep emotion and belief, you are sending commands straight to your subconscious mind, which is linked to infinite intelligence, not bound by doubt or question. It simply accepts your heartfelt declarations and begins manifesting them immediately into your reality. Andrew Carnegie grasped this profound principle. Every morning, before the sun painted the sky, he stood before his window and declared his intentions with such force that his presence alone demanded respect from all who met him. Thomas Edison, too, embraced this secret. In the quiet of his lab, before his work began, he affirmed his bond with the infinite wellspring of knowledge. Rockefeller, Ford, Schwab, all of them began their days not with idle chatter or news, but with precise, purposeful words that programmed their minds for victory. For too long, you have been the victim of your own mental indiscipline. You have let your mind run wild, untamed like a horse, carried wherever fear and doubt decide. But the 11 phrases I am about to give you act like bridles and bits for that wild horse. They will grant you mastery over your own mind, and through that mastery, dominion over your entire life. These are no mere platitudes, no empty affirmations. These 11 phrases contain the distilled essence of success philosophy, drawn from men who built empires from scratch, transformed entire industries, and left unequivocal marks on history. Each phrase unlocks a door to a chamber deep in your subconscious mind. Together, they form a master key to a vault bursting with unlimited achievement. Transformation awaits you, but it demands 2 things. First, you must speak these phrases every morning without fail. Second, you must speak them with unquestioning faith and burning emotion. Words without feeling are lifeless. Yet when combined with the fire of belief, these words set mighty forces in motion that will reshape your very existence. Prepare yourself, for you are about to learn the sacred morning ritual that separates life's masters from its victims. I am the master of my fate. Let these 6 words sear themselves into your very consciousness, for within them lies the power to lift you from despair's depths to achievement's pinnacles. I once knew a man who had lost everything: his business, his savings, his confidence. He sat before me, tears in his eyes, convinced that external forces had conspired to break him. I gave him these 6 words alone and instructed him to repeat them each morning with every ounce of his being. 6 months later, he returned, richer not only in wealth but in spirit, for he had rebuilt a fortune twice as grand. You see, most people believe they are mere leaves tossed about by circumstance's winds. They point fingers at governments, economies, education, their families, everyone but the one who holds all true power, themselves. But I tell you, having studied history's most extraordinary minds, that you are no victim of fate. You are its author. Every circumstance in your life today reflects the thoughts you held in your mind yesterday. Consider the words of William Ernest Henley. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Sunny. These are not pretty lines of poetry, but laws as immutable as gravity. Your thoughts craft your reality. Your chief mental attitude directs whether you attract success or failure, wealth or poverty, joy or misery. This is no mere wishful thinking. It is a universal law operating with unerring precision. Think of Charles M. Schwab, who began as a humble day laborer earning $1 a day in Andrew Carnegie's steel mills. But Schwab grasped the truth that he was the master of his fate. Each morning before work, he looked into his modest mirror and declared with unshakable conviction that one day he would command those very mills. This was no idle wish. It was a solemn vow to his subconscious mind, a declaration so powerful that the universe itself could not ignore it. Through relentless faith and action, Schwab rose to become president of the United States Steel Corporation, earning $1 million annually when such wealth was nearly unimaginable. Consider Henry Ford, ridiculed when he announced his vision to build an automobile for the common man. Financial experts predicted his bankruptcy. Learned men declared it impossible. Even his own father discouraged him. But Ford knew a secret they did not. He was the master of his fate. Each morning he renewed his mental command over destiny, banishing doubt and fear. When setbacks mounted, and they came by the dozens, Ford remembered that fate was not something that happened to him, but something he created with each thought, each decision, each action. This unwavering conviction transformed not just his life, but the entire world. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It grows whatever seeds you plant. When you declare, I am the master of my fate, you plant seeds of personal power, self-determination, and unlimited possibility. But this must be done with feeling that surges through your being like electricity through wire. Stand before your mirror each morning. Look yourself directly in the eyes and speak these words as if your very existence depends on them, because it does. Feel the power coursing through you. Feel the chains of victimhood shattering. Feel yourself taking command of your own destiny. My definite chief aim guides my every action. These 8 words constitute the starting point of all achievement. Without a definite chief aim, you are like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever life's currents choose to take you. But with a definite purpose fixed firmly in your mind, you become like a guided missile moving with unstoppable force toward your target. I spent years wallowing in poverty and frustration before Andrew Carnegie revealed to me the supreme importance of definiteness of purpose. He told me that 98 out of every 100 people fail, because they never decide exactly what they want. They have wishes, hopes, and dreams, but no definite chief aim. They scatter their energies in a dozen directions and wonder why they never reach anywhere. Edwin C. Barnes was nobody from nowhere when he decided his definite chief aim was to become Thomas Edison's business partner. He had no money, no connections, no special talents visible to the world. But he possessed something far more valuable: burning desire backed by definiteness of purpose. Each morning before dawn, Barnes stood in his shabby room and declared his intention to work with Edison. He didn't hope to work for Edison. He declared he would be Edison's partner. When Barnes finally made his way to Edison's office, he arrived looking like a tramp. But Edison, who could read men's souls through their eyes, saw something extraordinary. He saw the fire of definite purpose burning so brightly it could never be extinguished. Years later, after Barnes had grown wealthy as Edison's partner in the dictating machine business, Edison revealed, "I gave him the opportunity he sought because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded." Your definite chief aim is not a wish or hope. It's a command to your subconscious mind. When you state it each morning with absolute conviction, you activate forces within yourself that immediately begin transforming that aim into physical reality. John D. Rockefeller knew at 23 that his definite chief aim was to become the world's greatest oil refiner. He spoke it, breathed it, lived it. Every decision, every action flowed from this central purpose. The result was Standard Oil and a fortune that staggered the imagination. I possess within me all the power I need. Stop for a moment and feel the profound truth of these words. You have been programmed to believe in limitation, to accept that you need something outside yourself to succeed. But I tell you now, based on irrefutable evidence, that you already possess within your own mind all the power necessary to achieve anything you can conceive and believe. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling. By every external measure, he should have remained an unknown failure. But Edison understood a secret his educated critics missed. He possessed within himself access to infinite intelligence. When faced with a seemingly impossible problem, Edison would retire to his private room, sit in complete darkness and silence, and affirm his connection to the source of all knowledge. In this state, ideas would flash into his mind like lightning. Solutions would appear whole and complete. Inventions would reveal themselves in startling detail. More than 1,000 patents stand as monuments to his faith in the power within. The average person uses less than 10% of their mental capacity. Think about that staggering fact. You are operating at 1/10 of your potential, yet you wonder why success seems elusive. But the power lies there waiting to be accessed, waiting to be commanded, waiting to be released in torrents of achievement. George Washington Carver demonstrated this truth in a way that cannot be disputed. Born into slavery without formal education, he became one of history's greatest scientists. When asked how he discovered over 300 uses for the humble peanut, he replied simply, "I went into my laboratory and said, 'Dear Creator, please tell me what the peanut is for.' Then I waited for the answer." Your subconscious mind connects directly to infinite intelligence, the source of all knowledge, all power, all solutions. But doubt acts as a dam blocking this mighty river. When you affirm each morning that you possess within you all the power you need, you dynamite that dam. You open floodgates through which unlimited wisdom and ability can pour. Self-doubt is the great crippler of human potential. You have been programmed since childhood to believe in limitations rather than possibilities. You've been told what you cannot do so often that you've forgotten what you can do. But Carnegie was right when he declared that no man is limited except by his own thoughts. Today, I will go the extra mile in all I do. This principle has created more millionaires than any other single factor. It is so simple that most overlook it, so powerful that those who apply it cannot fail. Yet the majority do only what they're paid to do, only what's required, only what they must. Then they wonder why opportunity passes them by like ships in the night. Charles M. Schwab was once asked by Andrew Carnegie to manage a steel mill hemorrhaging money. Other capable managers had failed despite their best efforts. Schwab took the job with one condition: that he be allowed to manage his way. His way was the principle of going the extra mile. He worked not 8 hours, but 12, not because he was paid for the extra time, but because he was determined to render more service than required. He insisted every employee under him adopt this same principle. Within 1 year, that failing mill became the most profitable in Carnegie's entire empire. Schwab's reward: a bonus of $1 million for a single year's work, when $1,000 was considered a fortune. The law of increasing returns governs all nature and human activity. When you give more than expected, you receive back more than you gave. This is not sentiment. This is mathematical law, as precise as gravity. The farmer who tends his crops with extra care reaps an extra abundant harvest. The merchant providing extra service builds unshakable customer loyalty. The employee doing more than required inevitably rises to positions of greater responsibility and reward. Most people approach work asking, "How little can I do and still get by?" They watch clocks, resent extra assignments, and complain about pay. These souls remain at life's bottom, bitter and resentful, never understanding they author their own poverty by violating the basic law of success. Going the extra mile isn't about working yourself to exhaustion. It's about bringing quality, enthusiasm, and excellence to everything you touch. It's about seeking ways to increase service, improve skills, and add value wherever you stand. When you adopt this principle, you shine like a beacon in darkness. Opportunities seek you out. Promotion becomes inevitable. Success becomes not a question of if, but when. I attract wealth through service to others. Here is a truth that forever destroys the false belief that success comes through exploiting others. Every great fortune, without exception, has been built on a foundation of service. The size of your reward will always equal the amount and quality of service you render. Henry Ford became one of the world's richest men, not by exploiting others, but by serving them. His obsession was not profit, but providing affordable transportation to the masses. He revolutionized production methods not to increase wealth, but to decrease automobile costs, so more people could afford them. The fortune flowing to him was the natural result of service rendered to millions. Ford often said, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. Money is merely a symbol of service rendered. It flows to those providing value to others and away from those seeking only to take." This is the law of compensation in action, operating as reliably as gravity. Frank W. Woolworth built his fortune on serving people with only nickels and dimes to spend. While other merchants ignored these customers as unprofitable, Woolworth saw opportunity to serve. He created stores where people of modest means could shop with dignity, finding quality goods at affordable prices. His 5 and 10-cent stores served millions and made him one of America's wealthiest men. J.P. Morgan accumulated vast fortune not through manipulation, but organization. He saw American industry needed capital and structure to grow. He organized railroads, steel companies, and banks in ways serving both investors and the public. His wealth was natural compensation for valuable service in building America's industrial foundation. When you affirm each morning that you attract wealth through service, you align with universal law. Your subconscious begins attracting opportunities to serve. You develop what I call service consciousness, awareness of how to add value in every situation. This consciousness is magnetic, drawing people to you, opening previously closed doors, creating possibilities where none existed. The selfish person repels wealth because they violate the fundamental law of exchange. They try getting without giving, reaping without sowing, withdrawing without first making deposits. But the person with service consciousness attracts wealth because they understand that giving precedes receiving. Sowing precedes reaping. Deposits must be made before withdrawals. I transform every failure into a stepping stone. Listen carefully, for this principle will free you forever from the fear of failure that paralyzes most people. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries within it the seed of equal or greater benefit. This is not mere consolation. This is proven fact, demonstrated by every person who has achieved lasting success. Abraham Lincoln failed in business at 21. He was defeated for legislature at 22. Failed again in business at 24. His sweetheart died when he was 26. He suffered nervous breakdown at 27. Was defeated for Speaker at 29. Defeated for Elector at 31. Defeated for Congress at 33-34. Defeated for Senate at 46. Defeated for Vice President at 47. Defeated for Senate again at 49. At 52, he became President of the United States and saved the Union. Every failure had been preparing him, strengthening him, teaching lessons he would need for his ultimate destiny. Thomas Edison's teachers said he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being unproductive. When inventing the light bulb, he failed over 10,000 times. A reporter asked how it felt to fail so many times. Edison replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure brought him closer to success because he understood that failure is nothing more than education, a stepping stone to achievement. Most people accept failure as final. They quit at first defeat, interpret temporary setback as permanent disaster. But I tell you now, there is no such thing as permanent failure except for those who accept it as such. Every failure is temporary, every defeat educational, every setback a setup for comeback, but only for those refusing to quit. Nature requires opposition to create strength. The tree standing against wind develops deepest roots. The muscle working against resistance grows strongest. The person overcoming most failures develops greatest capacity for success. I am building my success with patience and persistence. In this age of instant gratification, this principle has been nearly forgotten. Yet it remains as true today as ever. All enduring success is built gradually, methodically, persistently over time. There are no shortcuts, no magic formulas, no overnight transformations. Success is a building process, and like all building, it requires patience and persistence. James J. Hill spent 20 years building his railroad empire. For 2 decades, he laid track through wilderness, overcame countless obstacles, faced financial ruin repeatedly, endured mockery of those calling his project Hill's Folly. But Hill understood that great achievements require time to mature. He persisted when others would quit, remained patient when others would rush, continued building when others would abandon the project. The Great Northern Railway became one of America's most successful transportation systems, and Hill became one of his era's wealthiest men. Compound returns apply not only to money, but to personal development. Each day you persist in your efforts adds to your foundation. Each small improvement builds upon the last. Each lesson learned makes the next easier. This compounding effect is invisible at first, which is why most quit before seeing results. But those who persist eventually reach the tipping point, where accumulated effort suddenly produces dramatic results. Marshall Field understood this principle. When the Great Chicago Fire destroyed his store, he faced a choice: quit or rebuild. Lesser men might have accepted defeat, but Field saw the fire not as ending, but as opportunity to build something better. He rebuilt with patience and persistence, creating not just a store, but a retail empire bearing his name for over a century. Impatience is the great destroyer of potential success. It causes people to abandon efforts just before breakthrough comes. It leads to poor decisions, rushed actions, inevitable failure. The impatient person is like a farmer who plants seeds, then digs them up daily to see if they're growing. The patient person understands there is a season for planting and a season for harvesting, and one cannot be rushed into the other. My mind is closed to all negative influences. Your mind is like a garden that will grow whatever seeds are planted. If you allow others to plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, that is what will flourish. But when you close your mind to negative influences and plant only seeds of faith, confidence, and possibility, you create a mental garden of success. The world is full of people who will tell you what you cannot do. They failed, so they believe you must fail. They quit, so they expect you to quit. They accepted limitation, so they try imposing limitation on you. Guglielmo Marconi faced this when he announced his idea for wireless communication. His friends were so convinced he had lost his mind that they tried having him committed to an asylum. But Marconi had closed his mind to their negative influences. He persisted in experiments, and today the entire world communicates wirelessly. Henry Ford faced constant barrages of negative influence when he decided to build his automobile. Engineers proved it was impossible. Financial experts demonstrated he would go bankrupt. Even his father tried discouraging him. But Ford had developed mental discipline to shut out all voices except the one inside saying, "It can be done." Negative thoughts are contagious, spreading from mind to mind like disease. When you associate with negative people, listen to their complaints and criticisms, allow their fears to enter your consciousness, you become infected. Your own positive thoughts are overwhelmed, faith weakened, dreams begin dying. Mental substitution is your defense against negative influences. You cannot simply resist negative thoughts. You must replace them with positive ones. When someone tells you it cannot be done, immediately recall examples of those who did it. When doubt tries entering your mind, crowd it out with faith. When fear knocks at your door, answer with courage. I give thanks for this day and its opportunities. Gratitude is not merely pleasant emotion. It's a magnetic force attracting more of what you appreciate. This is a law of mind as reliable as any law of physics. What you focus on with emotion expands. Focus on lack, you get more lack. Focus on abundance, you get more abundance. Gratitude is the master key, shifting your focus from what is missing to what is present. John D. Rockefeller began each day with thanksgiving. Even when he was a struggling bookkeeper, earning less than $1 daily, he gave thanks for health, for his job, for opportunities to learn and grow. This attitude of gratitude attracted people and circumstances, helping him build Standard Oil. He often said he owed success not to financial genius, but to his habit of appreciating what he had while working for more. Appreciation works in all life areas. What you appreciate appreciates. When you give thanks for current blessings, however small, you create mental atmosphere attracting greater blessings. Your subconscious is programmed to notice and attract more of whatever you focus on with emotion. Gratitude provides that emotion in its most powerful, positive form. The ungrateful person lives in a prison of their own making, surrounded by blessings they cannot see, opportunities they cannot recognize, abundance they cannot access. But the grateful person lives in an ever-expanding universe of possibility. Each thing they appreciate leads to something else to appreciate. I act with decision and courage today. Indecision and procrastination have murdered more opportunities than all other causes combined. While you hesitate, life passes by. While you deliberate, others take action. While you wait for perfect conditions, those who act with imperfect conditions claim the prizes you desire. Successful people have one characteristic distinguishing them from failures. They make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Napoleon Bonaparte attributed his military genius to one thing. I make decisions 2 hours before my generals think they need to be made. The universe rewards action and punishes hesitation. This law is as immutable as gravity. When you act, even imperfectly, you set forces in motion. You create momentum. You generate feedback, allowing course adjustment. But when you hesitate, you create only stagnation. Fear is the parent of indecision. You hesitate because you fear making wrong choices. But here is liberating truth. There are no wrong choices, only lessons. Every decision, even those leading to temporary setback, provides valuable experience. The only truly wrong choice is no choice at all. Theodore Roosevelt built his entire life on decisive action. His motto, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." He didn't wait for perfect conditions or risk removal. He acted with available resources, learned from results, adjusted his approach. This decisiveness carried him from sickly child to President of the United States. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. This final affirmation encompasses all others, for success is not merely about achieving external goals, but fulfilling your highest potential. Every person born into this world has unique gifts, talents, and capacities meant to be developed and expressed. Your life's true purpose is becoming the fullest expression of who you are capable of being. Booker T. Washington was born into slavery, but refused letting circumstances define destiny. He understood that within him lay potential for greatness, regardless of external conditions. Each day he worked not just on external achievements, but on developing himself. He educated himself, refined character, expanded capabilities. He became one of his time's most influential educators and leaders, not because circumstances favored him, but because he was committed to becoming who he was meant to be. Small daily improvements compound into dramatic transformation. You don't become the person you're meant to be through single dramatic acts, but through thousands of small acts of self-development. Each book read, each skill developed, each weakness overcome, each strength built contributes to your evolution. Most people settle for far less than they're capable of becoming. They allow environment to determine development, accept limitations others place upon them, stop growing when they leave school, stop learning when they leave school they get jobs, stop evolving when they achieve modest comfort. But you were not meant for mediocrity. Within you lies genius waiting to be awakened, greatness waiting to be expressed, potential waiting to be realized. The same life force creating all nature's miracles flows through you. Your task is cooperating with this force, removing barriers of doubt, fear, and limitation, preventing its full expression. Now, let me share the sacred ritual transforming these 11 phrases from mere words into living forces. This is not casual practice done half-heartedly while rushing through morning. This is deliberate mental programming requiring your full presence and participation. Rise each morning at least 30 minutes before you must begin daily activities. This time is not negotiable. If you're unwilling to invest 30 minutes in your own transformation, you're not serious about success. Find a private place where you will not be disturbed. The subconscious mind requires concentration to receive new programming. Lock the door if necessary. Inform your family this time is sacred. Guard it as you would guard your most precious possession, for indeed it is. Stand before a mirror and look directly into your own eyes. The eyes are windows of the soul. When you speak to yourself while maintaining eye contact, you create powerful circuits of communication between conscious and subconscious minds. Speak each phrase aloud, with all the emotion and conviction you can summon. Words without feeling are dead. Your subconscious responds not to words themselves, but to emotional vibration behind them. When you say, "I am the master of my fate," feel the power of that truth surging through you. When you declare, "My definite chief aim guides my every action," see your goal as already achieved and feel the joy of accomplishment. Repeat each phrase 3 times before moving to the next. First time, speak it to establish the thought. Second time, speak with increased emotion to deepen the impression. Third time, speak with absolute conviction as an established fact in your life. After speaking all 11 phrases, remain quiet for 5 minutes. This is the period of impression when your subconscious absorbs and begins processing what you've declared. Do not think of problems or plans during this time. Simply remain in quiet expectancy, knowing the seeds you've planted are already beginning to germinate. The transformation will not happen overnight. Your subconscious has been programmed by years of negative conditioning and requires at least 30 days of consistent practice to establish new patterns. Miss a single day during these first 30 days, and you must begin again. After 30 days, this practice will feel natural. After 60 days, you'll notice changes in thinking and behavior. After 90 days, others will comment on transformation they see in you. After 6 months of faithful practice, you'll be a different person, not in essential nature, but in expression of that nature. Do not make the mistake of thinking this too simple to be effective. The greatest truths are always simple. The problem is not understanding them, but applying them. Knowledge without application is worthless. The world is full of educated failures who know what to do, but don't do what they know. Begin tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Prepare your private space tonight. Write out the 11 phrases if necessary until you have them memorized. Your entire life has been leading to this moment of decision. Will you continue as you have been, hoping somehow things will change? Or will you take command of your own mind and create the change you desire? The choice is yours. But understand this: if you do not take control of your mental programming, others will program you for their purposes. If you do not design your own life plan, you will fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. You now possess the morning ritual that has transformed ordinary men into extraordinary achievers. You have the same 24 hours each day that Carnegie, Ford, and Edison had. The only difference between you and them is how you use the first 30 minutes after you awaken. The chains binding you to mediocrity are already weakening. Tomorrow morning, you will speak words that will break them forever. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, know that you are about to embark on the greatest adventure of your life, the journey from who you are to who you were meant to be. The universe is waiting to respond to your new commands. Your subconscious mind is ready to receive new programming. Your future success is calling from tomorrow's dawn. Rise early. Speak boldly. Believe completely. Act decisively. Persist relentlessly. This is the way of those who transform lives from failure to success, from poverty to riches, from nobody to somebody. You now know the secret. The only question remaining is, will you use it? The decision you make in the next 24 hours will determine the direction of the rest of your life. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose success. Begin tomorrow morning with the 11 phrases that will change your life forever. I have given you the keys to the kingdom of achievement. Now it is up to you to use them.